Hi there. We're going to be discussing using videos in the classroom. We have a couple different options in terms of how we can go. There's the classic of just simply using a video. Not much different from popping in a VCR, a videotape into a VCR or DVD. But with the internet, there's a lot more that we can do with this. So just starting with the basics of what you could do. Um, the most common probably the most common site when people think of videos online, a lot of people think of YouTube. And with YouTube, you got a couple options. There's just showing a video. You can also, with YouTube, create playlists. And with these playlists, you can share these with the students. So you could do what's referred to as a flipped classroom, where the students watch a video at home or outside the classroom, and that way you can discuss it with the students when they come in. You can either share a playlist with them, or as we see here, you could also, if you have a class site, you can embed it into the site. We see here on something on research design, where the students watch it and they come in and discuss it. Same thing on YouTube. One suggestion, one very important suggestion, whether you're showing it in class or having the students watch it, watch the video ahead of time. The description that comes with the video is not always accurate. You need to watch it, make sure it's what it says it is, and that it does what you're going to do. And this seems like a pretty obvious suggestion, but unfortunately, not everybody does that. So it's strongly suggested that you screen the video ahead of time. Getting away from just showing a video in class or having the students watch the video and then come in and discuss it, as stated previously, you can embed a video in class. Some of the other videos in this segment on BYOD have dealt with different types of collaborative software and assessment or internet resources. If you are proficient enough with technology to be able to embed a site or even to create a playlist and have the students watch the video at home, it's possible that you could create a discussion group using maybe Google Groups or a wiki or a blog. Maybe post something, have the students respond. A online assessment, we talked in other sites about today's meet, as well as Socrative. Students could perhaps do a questionnaire, and that way, in addition to having the students come and discuss, perhaps they can answer questions ahead of time, and then you're able to take a look and see what they've done and proceed accordingly. In addition to YouTube, since that seems to be the obvious one, I'd like to take this opportunity to show you a few others. Tedtalks is a big one. Not every video you see will meet your needs. Do once again screen them ahead of time, but they tend to be a little more credible. You can divide them by talks, by speakers. There are playlists. So, for instance, in the past, I've looked for videos on certain playlists just to see what was in there to get ideas. And one thing I've taught or I teach is psychology. So if I type in psychology, helps if I spell it correctly. Oops. You see psychology killer there. There's a number of playlists and videos. So for instance, I was looking for it afterwards. You saw psychology killer there. Phil Zimbardo, and there's another gentleman in here who's not on this playlist, but his name is actually James Fallon, not to be confused with the guy from Saturday Night Live, and he was a neuroscientist who studied the brain patterns of serial killers. So there are articles in here. Tony Robbins tends to be a more inspirational one, so you may not want that one, depending on what you're teaching. But for instance, Phil Zimbardo, watching a video by him would be excellent for an introductory psychology course. So another source for videos, just talks, people talking. You're not going to get, they might have a presentation of some sort, but that's what you're going to see. But it's good for setting a base. Associated with TED Talks is TED Ed. And what TED Ed allows you to do, you can create an account and you can actually flip lessons. The concept of flipping lessons is that a student would watch a video outside of class, as we said before. But one thing I mentioned before is that you could potentially create an assessment for the students to review before they come to class to see how they're doing. So unlike the TED Talks, I did not have one pigeonholed here, so I'm going to pick, I'm going to do math. We see here, we'll pick the first one. We see how many views there are. Apparently 8,193 people have viewed it. Several people flipped it, which means they actually used the lesson. And what the student would do is, you see the parts of this are watch, think, dig deeper, and discuss. And what it's doing is the entire site is creating a flipped lesson. By a flipped lesson, what it's suggesting is that the students are doing all the research and laying their base of knowledge outside the classroom so that when they come into the classroom, they're that much more prepared to proceed and enrich. And essentially what you're doing is you're extending the learning time outside the classroom. So the first part, watch, you watch the video. Think, we see that there's 5 multiple choice questions, and I'll ask a number of questions simply for comprehension, dig deeper. Think this is Bloom's taxonomy. There's going to be extra questions and then a discussion where there'll be a guided question, and we see that there are 3 open discussion questions. And then the one cool thing about TED Ed is it's set up above that there were 96 flips. The video remains the same, but you are able, if you create a free account, to flip the lesson for yourself. You can customize it. So as an example, you see this lesson, it doesn't quite fit your needs, so you customize it or tweak it a little bit to better suit your needs. And whereas with the YouTube example, when I said, creating assessment outside the classroom, you would need some sort of technology set up already, whether it's Google Groups, Today's Meet, a blog with responses, Socrative, any of those you would need outside, whereas with TED Ed, it's all contained in one simple thing. And if you go and you sign up, you can take a tour and it'll actually walk you through your first lesson. And if you're not comfortable with that, you can just take one of these. One important thing, because they don't tend to voice this enough when it comes to flipped classrooms, is that a flipped classroom has levels of involvement. You do not need to have an entire assessment. A flipped classroom could simply be, it could be as simple as watching a lesson. So, have the students watch a lesson so when they come in you can discuss it. And some people go so far as to use a webcam and record themselves giving a lecture or a presentation, and then the students watch. So the teacher's actually teaching a lesson outside the classroom. If you're interested in doing something like that, if you decide to go that far, a suggestion might be Google+. With Google+, you would need a Google account, whether it's your own or through your district. What you would do is you can create a Google Plus account and you can create what's called a Google Hangout. A Google Hangout works a lot like Skype. You can talk to someone else via video phone. You could also talk to several people. You can have to talk to up to 10 people at a time. And you can share videos on there in terms of you're talking to them and you're showing the video on your screen. You can share documents and you can do many other things to it. The thing though that differentiates Hangouts from Skype is that when you're done, because of its connection with YouTube, you can post the Hangout on air. So if you're interested in giving a lecture or a presentation for the students to watch outside the classroom, you can go to Google Hangouts, give your presentation, you can bring up your presentation, a screenshot, a webcam shot of yourself, whatever it is you please, and then you can post it to Hangout or to YouTube and have the students watch it. So with this, we've seen a number of directions. Going to any one of these would is a lesson itself. But one great thing about the sites I did show you, Tedtalks, TED-Ed, Hangouts, and YouTube, is that they're all pretty self-explanatory. They're pretty user-friendly. So that's a great advantage of them. I guess the best advice you can get on this is, obviously, like I said before, pre-screen the videos, but also, just experiment, have a little fun with it, and see what happens. And it's something that a lot of people look at these things for pleasure too. So it's, it'd be easy to navigate it over some time and get to know, how it works and the layout. Thank you very much.